Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind. You know what's the question that's on my mind right now? Do Democrat voters actually critically think about policies before they vote for politicians selling a policy platform? Or is it just like a cultural thing? I'm a Democrat and so I'm gonna vote for the Democrat because it's my yearly charity. I simply vote for the person who promises more things. And then I pat myself on the back and say, good job, you saved the world. One vote at a time. It seems like more of a trendy thing to kind of do or be than it is a party actually trying to find concrete solutions to problems and govern effectively. And you know, that's really the thing, governing effectively. Spending money efficiently, coming under budget, creating programs that are actually adding value to society. That's obviously the goal, but Democrats can't even get the basic budgeting right. Democrats spend your money, then they take out loans on your behalf and spend money that you don't own and you don't have to fund everything under the frickin' sun without a care in the world. And now with what's going on in the state of New York with Kathy Hochul, I'm asking myself again that same question. Are Democrat voters even paying attention or thinking about the policies and the politicians that they're voting for? Because what the frick is this? Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so we know what's going on in New York City. In fact, the numbers are just as bad as they were during the pandemic. People are leaving. The tax base is fleeing.
Now, we told you about this earlier in the week, that New York City is losing some folks, right? Some residents. But it turns out that New York State is also seeing the population drop.
Yeah, according to the Census Bureau, New York lost 102,000 people, by far the most of any state.
The hot topic buzz, blue state exodus. New York and California losing more than 500,000 residents since April of 2020 over surging housing prices and a rise in crime. Former New Yorkers say crime and homelessness has increased since 2020 and sky-high rents pushing people out of the Big Apple.
So New York faces a couple issues right now. There's a cost of living crisis and a tax collection crisis. Many of the state's wealthiest residents and businesses have simply fled. They're pulling in less tax dollars. And now even on top of that, they're facing now a Biden migrant crisis, costing New York taxpayers millions upon millions of dollars a day in crisis cost. And so what is the Democrat government in New York doing? Well, this. New York Democrat governor establishes Slavery Reparations Commission amid a $4.3 billion budget shortfall. Earlier this month, San Francisco essentially defunded its own African American Reparations Advisory Committee, which had proposed paying $5 million, a figure they called minuscule, plus other benefits to every eligible black resident of the city. But while the payouts would have cost the city possibly $175 billion, more than 10 times the city's annual budget, the Reparations Committee could not even get the city to fund $2 million, which is what they wanted, to keep their office staffed and funded. You would think that New York would have learned from this unrealistic debacle before Governor Kathy Hochul signed a bill on Tuesday creating a Reparations Commission. Listen to how excited people were. Now, am I the only one who finds this completely idiotic? How are people clapping for this? People should be face-palming. Let's think about the current cost of the Biden illegal migrant crisis, currently burdening the city.
As more and more migrants pour into New York City, Mayor Adams saying the cost is escalating into the billions of dollars. He says without major policy changes and additional support from the state and federal government, caring for asylum seekers could cost the city $12 billion over the next 3 years.
The mayor today saying if the federal government doesn't come up with a real decompression strategy and reimburse the city for all its spending on this national crisis, New York City taxpayers will be on the hook for about $4 billion each year for the next 3 years.
$12 billion. That has to come from somewhere.
That $12 billion figure, which the mayor says will inevitably impact all city services, factors in the current rate of arrivals.
So numerous ideas have been tossed around over the past few weeks on ways the city and state can do more to support migrants, especially as the city is potentially staring down a $12 billion budget hole due to costs associated with housing and feeding migrants.
Let's look at the city's financials.
In the medium term, the outlook is not as good. The city is projecting a $15.6 billion deficit for fiscal year 2022 through 24, mainly due to a decline in property tax collections. For the state, Governor Cuomo is estimating a $15 billion deficit for just fiscal year 2022.
New York is currently struggling to keep up, and Kathy Hochul thought it was the perfect time to launch a reparations commission that is most likely going to follow in the footsteps of whatever happened in San Francisco, exploring real feasible ideas like these ones.
San Francisco supervisors today heard more than 100 recommendations from a city-appointed reparations committee tasked with figuring out how to atone for centuries of slavery and systemic racism. San Francisco is considering a reparations proposal that includes a $5 million lump sum payment for each eligible black person. San Francisco could become the first major U.S. city to fund reparations as the idea gains traction across the country.
$5 million per eligible black resident. Maybe we'll compromise and accept 2, maybe 3. Where exactly is this money going to come from? Well, that seems to be a question that no Democrat is interested in the answer of. And it brings me right back to the question. Are people paying attention? Are people thinking even a little bit? It's nice to support public spending. That takes care of the less fortunate. But when you make it part of your political identity, then the question is, where does it end? Well, I think the clear answer is never. Once you've bought into the leftist worldview, the idea of budgeting just goes out the damn window. We can simply afford everything. $10 trillion in spending? No problem. Call it done. Where's the money gonna come from? I don't know. That's for the next people to find out. It's completely idiotic, and the idea of throwing government money at a problem, you wouldn't run your own life like that. Then why should the government? You are being scammed. Kathy Hochul isn't launching a reparations task force because she knows it's going to be money well spent hiring experts to build a whole reparations scheme that ends up undoing the harms of years of systemic racism. Obviously, that's not going to happen. The department's going to get defunded just like the San Francisco one was. It's simply a vote grab ahead of an election season. Don't fall for the marketing schemes. The timing isn't a coincidence. Please critically think about the policies that you support, and especially the politicians, because even suggesting the idea of reparations on such a wide scale is completely insane considering the current economy and current state of New York, and as if just throwing money at people is going to solve the problem. We've seen these kinds of tests before. We've seen UBI, government subsidies, reparation payments. It does not achieve the end outcome that those peddling and marketing it attempt to claim. Throwing money at a complex cultural issue does not fix the core issues at hand. All we're seeing is a greedy political grift where groups are lobbying Democrat politicians in an effort to one day achieve a big paycheck. And of course, Democrat politicians are running with it because they think Democrat voters are stupid and will simply vote for free things, or at least the idea of free things. Everything's got a cost. And throwing magic money that the government doesn't have, they're simply taking it out of your pockets and giving it right back to you, won't solve the issue of supposed systemic racism. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.